Hello everyone and welcome to my deal analysis for the last Ambassador tournament that I played. So I'm going to run through each hand that was in the tournament and talk about the thoughts that I was having while I was playing to give you an idea about the kind of things that you should be thinking about when you play. So in this tournament, these are actually the final rankings, so well done to the 5 people who came above me. That's really quite impressive because 72.5% is already pretty high. So well done to you and enjoy your diamonds. Okay, so the first deal that I played was in 3 spades. And on this one, I think the only interesting thing in the bidding is not to get too excited. Yes, when partner raises to 2 spades, you're either going to find that they have a 4th trump, which will put you in a 9-card fit, or you're going to find out that they have a singleton. But if they do have a singleton, it's probably in hearts, which is not brilliant for you with all your points in hearts. So I would say I would just err on the side of caution, not get too overexcited with this hand, and just treat it as an invitational hand. So that's what I did with 3 spades. I invited. I've got to have 5 to do this because partner's shown 3 at least, although normally they will have 4. And my partner declined the invitation just because they have a 12-point balanced hand, nothing interesting going on. So the opponents led a heart, which was quite fortunate because I didn't want them to play diamonds because they can just cash 2 winners, whereas I will actually get a nice chance to discard enough diamonds to create a ruff in the shorthand. So if you're not sure what I mean by that, then when I cash the extra 2 rounds of hearts that I don't have to follow suit to in the dummy, I'll be able to throw 2 diamonds from the dummy, which will mean that I only have 1 in the dummy and 2 in my base hand. So then after losing 1 round of diamonds, I'll be able to ruff the other one. There are quite a lot of steps that have to be used for that. You might have thought about winning the heart in your hand, but there's no advantage to doing that because there's no it's quite obvious that you have the ace when you play the king and it holds the trick, so there's no subterfuge available. And from a practical point of view, you don't want to block the heart suit because you want to easily be able to cash them without drawing too many trumps. Unfortunately, on this hand, we will need to draw some trumps, so we have to run a bit of a risk. But often we'll find that the person who wins the ace, if it's the person on lead, then they might well be a bit concerned about their diamond holding. Maybe that's the reason they didn't lead a diamond. And instead decided to lead from what looks like 4 or 3 low hearts. If it's the other person, then it might even be that the queen looks a little bit threatening in the dummy and it looks much more appealing to play a club, which still gives us enough time to pitch the diamonds. So I don't want to try to give away the game by cashing hearts now, partly because the opponents might ruff and make the whole thing not even matter. If they ruff on the 3rd round, that's a disaster. I haven't had time to pitch my loser yet, and otherwise it's just swapping tricks. So I have to start drawing trumps with a risk. They won the ace. Luckily it's the opening leader and they chose to switch to their queen of clubs. Quite optimistic of them, but you can see from their hand that a diamond doesn't look that appealing because I could easily have the ace of diamonds. So that was brilliant. I got my opportunity and I just had to make sure that I drew trumps. It's safe to draw 2 rounds of trumps because I only need 1 for ruffing in the dummy. So I did that first just to make sure. And now when I played my hearts, I was able to throw 2 diamonds from the dummy. So if you didn't make 10 tricks, then it's either because the opponents found the diamond caches or because you discarded clubs on the hearts instead of diamonds. So just be a little bit aware that this exists. You'll be pleased to know it is actually coming up in a masterclass that I'm doing very, very soon. So look out for that if you find these things difficult to spot. Lots of people do. Okay. So this one, the opponents bid up to 4 hearts. They had a transfer auction where West showed an invitational hand with 5 hearts. It's a pretty bad invitational hand, and you'll see very soon what ended up being so bad about it. And the East hand had a maximum with 3 card heart support, so they chose to play in hearts and they chose to play in game. You have a bit of a lead problem here. It seems potentially unproductive to lead a trump. It might just mean that you give away a later advantage. You don't necessarily know whether it's right for you to be drawing trumps yet. But the advantage of leading a trump is that you might get a look at dummy. It's definitely possible. I decided that I didn't want to lead a trump straight away. Although I don't think it's a big mistake to lead a trump. I ruled out a spade very quickly because it looks really dangerous. It's a very active lead, and it might just be that the contract goes down without me having to do too much. So I don't want to potentially give them the 10th trick by leading into the ace queen or something like that. So that left me with a choice between diamonds and clubs. And although my partner hasn't promised a huge number of points, if they had ace queen to 5 or ace queen jack to 5 diamonds, then they could have doubled the 2 diamond transfer. So it doesn't look like partner has an extremely strong diamond holding. So I decided to go for a club instead. This actually, surprisingly, although you can see how many club honours the opponents have, worked out quite well, because Declara felt that they didn't want to block the suit by winning in the dummy, which meant that they used up an entry to their hand this way. Then they started cashing diamonds, and then on the 3rd round discarded a spade, so there went our spade winner. Today a spade was actually best, but I don't think it's the right lead, so I don't mind at all. Then on the 4th round I didn't ruff, because I can see that the dummy's about to over ruff. My partner gets to ruff anyway. Remember, I've seen a count signal from my partner, so I know that my partners can ruff. And they discarded their spade. Fine. But that actually was enough to be the setting trick. So now you'll see, once my partner plays another club, they're kind of stuck in the dummy now. I mean, they could continue playing clubs, but then we're just going to get some ruffs. And if I ruff with my 7, then that's a trump trick that they're not hoping to lose, or hoping not to lose. So the alternative is to play trumps. And the reason this was so beneficial for me and for my partner as well is because partner now had this singleton queen of trumps. They were forced to play trumps the way that made it really, really clear to us that we weren't supposed to be crashing the honours. So I think some people ended up in a situation where Declara's clubs were intact and they could still use the ace of clubs as an entry to their hand to play a heart, which then makes it really, really difficult for South to not play the ace or the king. And if they do that on the 2nd round of the suit as well, then they're crashing the honours together. Okay, this was my worst deal of the tournament. I took a bit of a view here that was, in hindsight, not a brilliant idea. So East opened a spade. I doubled. I had the south hand initially. And partner bid 1 no trump, which shows about 8 to 10 points, 8 to 11, 8 to 10 for Arjun. And I thought, practically speaking, although I could show my hand as a strong hand with hearts, which it seems that plenty of people did, I felt that my hearts were good enough quality that they would run in no trumps. So if my partner had a spade stop, which the 1 no trump said, then it looked like 3 no trumps was often going to be the right contract. So they led a spade as expected, and I decided to play extremely safely. So although West has passed and East has opened the bidding, and therefore one would normally expect the King of Clubs just to be on side, I was a bit concerned that in third position East might sometimes open light, so I felt that I wanted to play safely for 10 tricks, especially since some people would be playing in 4 hearts here, and 10 tricks would beat the 620 for 4 hearts. But I think playing with the odds is better. Arjun doesn't open light that often, so I probably should have just won the trick and taken the club finesse, crossed back to my hand with the Jack of Hearts and taken another club finesse, and I think that would have been enough to win the tournament. The reason this spade play is a safe play, you'll see in a minute. So I ducked a second time, so that means that I'm only ever going to get 1 stop in spades. But the good thing about this is that if I'd actually put in the King of Spades, and then I decided to take a club finesse and that had lost, then West would have a third spade to play through my Queen Doubleton, so the opponents would have been able to cash enough spades for me to go down. Whereas by ducking this trick, I now ensure that my spade is a stop. So even if they played another spade now instead of a diamond, I could take my club finesse, lose it, and then I would still be making my contract. This one was doomed from the start. This was a little bit weird from Arjun. So I opened a club and rebid 2 no trumps, which showed 18 to 19 balanced. You can even see that with my description of the bid. And I saw that some people decided to open 2 no trumps as a 20 to 21. And I understand that because you've got a very good quality long running suit, so you might choose to upgrade to a 2 no trump bid. I decided not to because I don't normally like upgrading into 2 no trumps. It's not very it's not a very nice opening bid. It takes up a lot of space, and I do have 3 little diamonds to contend with. My Jack of Spades looks useless, so it's not the world's most beautiful 19 count, but I completely understand why some people did choose to upgrade. But the interesting thing about the upgrade was that although it showed a better hand than this, after opening 2 no trumps, the responder decided not to bid a game, whereas when I showed a worse hand by bidding in this way, responder did decide to bid a game. So I felt like this was a bit of an odd move by partner. Maybe they just felt like they were committed, but I'm sure we can play 3 hearts as non-forcing here if we're going to respond with this hand. Was there anything interesting in the play? Slightly. So the opponent started by cashing diamonds, but they could only cash 2 rounds because the suit is actually blocked. I tried playing my diamonds from the top, just in case that made their signals murky, but they were probably not fooled at all. And certainly on this layout, they had no reason to be. Then they switched to a spade. I chose to win this. There's no point really in taking a finesse. It's not going to do anything because we're missing 2 honours and we only have 1 tennis. So it's not going to work. So at this point, I really needed to hope that either the Queen and Jack of hearts were doubleton, which would mean that the Queen was about to drop on the next round, or if the Jack had been in the other hand, I would then be able to take a finesse. I mean, it still wouldn't be enough, but it might be able to produce some trump coup potential. Because if I played a club and they chose to ruff, that would give me my extra finesse. However, it was not to be. So now, at this point, I was doomed just because of the trump layout. The thing to watch out for, which I think some people fell afoul of, is this 8 of trumps in East's hand. So it's natural to cash the clubs now, throwing away as many losers as you can. Unfortunately, East only has 3 clubs, so they're not going to be forced to follow suit on the next round, and we're not going to be able to throw away the diamond. But just be a little bit careful when you do ruff, because I think some people chose to ruff a club. If at this point you ruff with the 7, the 8 will be an over ruff. So be very careful about that. In the spades, it didn't matter so much because it was only the second round of the suit. Then this was an extremely good run for the rest. This was really quite interesting for the bidding, because I don't think it's the way that most people have treated the hand. So as South, which is the hand at the top, swap round, I decided to make a good raise in my partner's spade suit. Seems fairly normal. And then when partner bid 2 spades, which said I really have a minimum overcall, not very interested in game, I didn't make another push. And normally when you have 12 points, you do tend to make another push, especially with an extra trump. Those are all good things about the hand. But the thing that put me off, aside from the fact that I'm balanced, doesn't have to be a problem. The thing that put me off the most was the fact that I had this King of Diamonds that was onside for West. And West was bound to have the Ace of Diamonds because they opened the bidding. They had most of the points. And therefore, my King was devalued. So from that point of view, I actually only had a 9 count rather than a 12 count. So that's why I chose to take this slightly unusual action. But it worked out brilliantly because although my partner did have the Queen of Diamonds, they had a full minimum and our hands were both very balanced together. Lots of mirroring going on, especially in hearts. They had a diamond and started cashing hearts, so I thought this is 2 hands in a row where they start working on my weakest suit, but then it was also 2 hands in a row where they had Ace-King Doubleton, so the trick actually was able to disappear. Let me show you. So now they played their second round of diamonds. Just as an aside, I played the King on the first round of the suit to encourage them to play their ace and then play another one back, in case partner had the Queen. But they didn't fall for it. So now I won my Queen and I could draw some trumps, which I did in 2 rounds. I was planning to draw the 3rd round into my hand if necessary, and then play the Queen of Clubs. So the finesse failed. That's fine, because now West didn't have any hearts left. So if they'd played a diamond, I would have got a ruff and discard. Instead, they played a club, and now I was able to win. And because I had the top clubs now, and they were 3-3, double whammy. I was able to use the fourth round to throw my heart. This is surprising that it's a good score. You can technically make this contract, but you have to do something slightly bizarre. You have to play for the 10 of diamonds to be singleton, which involves playing the queen of diamonds from your hand and letting it run, and that then pins the 10. I did not do that, so I won the spade lead. It's good. And then something kind of interesting happened at the end, so I decided to play in this way because it's slightly more likely that the king will just be in West's hand, especially when they've chosen to bid. So I used the fact that the 10 had gone to use the 9 to push out the diamond, and although West very helpfully discarded the queen of clubs for their partner was still not up to playing another club, or the first round of clubs even, and they just played another spade. So I won, and now I had an interesting position. If West decided to try to keep their club winners instead of their spades, I might be able to end play them now. So I played a couple of rounds of diamonds, discarding a club, and if the hearts turn out to be 3-3, then I'm okay anyway. So I cashed the hearts, and then I found out that they weren't 3-3. So if, instead of discarding the jack of clubs, West had chosen to discard a spade, which is not unreasonable, then I would have been able to end play West in the following way. So I play my spade, West wins, and now they're forced to play clubs for me after cashing the spades. Well, they'd only have one spade to cash in this instance, but they managed to keep all their winners and it didn't work out. But still, my play saved some tricks. There were plenty of people who were going 2 down and even 3 down, as you can see. This was a very nice defensive hand for us. My partner opened 2 hearts this week, double pass, 2 no trumps, which was a sort of scrambly type thing. Yeah, just some sort of points, don't know distribution. 3 spades. Apparently shows 5 cards. That's what I would have expected as well, but they didn't have 5 cards, and that came back to bite them. And then their partner obviously raised a game with this very nice hand, and there they played. So this was a little bit odd, I guess, because they don't have any lower 4-card suit, but I still think bidding 3 clubs would be a lot more normal. Okay, so I decided to lead a heart, which most people did, and partner won the queen, which told me that he had the ace, the king, and the queen, especially when he followed up with the ace. So this is really important. I saw a couple of people here, when partner played the ace of hearts next, discarding diamonds, but that's not going to achieve anything. If you discard a club, you know that partner only has 6 hearts because they had ace, king, queen, and they only bid 2 hearts. So declarer is going to have to follow suit in the next round. So what you want is to be able to throw away both of your clubs so that you can get a club ruff. And in addition to that, I played high-low. I played the 7 first and then the 6, meaning that I could ruff the next round of clubs. And my partner very cleverly read the signs. So that's 4 tricks, and then later you'll get your king of trumps as well for 2 down. Okay, now we're in the 90s. This was a really exciting hand. Lots of people actually in this contract, which was good. Too many people were tempted to upgrade to a 1 no trump overcall over 1 club. I really hate it. Not only do you not actually have a hand that matches the description of the bid, no, you're not balanced and you're not strong enough. You also have so many clubs that they're not just a stop anymore, they're a bit of a liability. Your partner's not going to have club length, so you're going to end up with a very misfitting hand where you don't have a proper long suit and you just can't establish any tricks. I mean, you can see here partner has 1 club, so you have 7 of those between you. You have 6 diamonds, you have 6 spades, and you have 7 hearts, so you don't have any 8 card suit to work on. And even though you have 7 hearts and 7 clubs, they're not producing tricks. So you just don't have enough manpower to make 3 no trumps. So instead I decided to pass. I was hoping that this might happen, although I do normally expect for it not to. I'm really surprised that the opponents decided to pass out 1 club doubled, especially since they didn't really have clubs. But that's what they did, and I was very happy about it. So on the lead, I decided to lead the Queen of Spades because partner is slightly more likely to have good spades rather than good diamonds. Given their takeout double, they're more likely to make these takeout doubles when they have a major rather than a minor. So it seemed a bit more percentage. So I led the Queen of Spades. And then second spade to partner's king. And they actually noticed that it was going to be difficult for me to make a discard on the next round. And that I might have too many trumps. So what they did was they played a trump for me, which is a really nice thing for partner to do because it kind of frees up my hand. Now the key play on this hand was to think about what declarer was going to do. So it could well be that if the 7 and the 5 of spades were swapped, that that declarer might have to ruff a round of spades. Although actually no, because they had the jack. But if they had the 7 and the 5 instead of the jack and the 7, that would have been enough. So they might have to ruff a spade. They're not going to make tricks here if they don't ruff anything. And I don't give away a trump trick by playing a trump. Plus, I don't have particularly appealing switches in either of the red suits. I ideally want my partner to play these suits because I don't know which honours my partner has left outside of spades. So I decided to play a trump back, which was great because when declarer then decided to, for some reason, draw another round of trumps, I had control of the hand. Now they played a spade. I remembered that my partner had the ace and let him win the trick. And now we were set. My partner ideally should have played a heart, but didn't think to do that. And now, when I play a diamond back, my partner plays a heart, my hand is just high. So I took 1400 at the 1 level. That was good fun. This was my best deal of the tournament. It's hard to get higher than 99%. So this was a really interesting bidding decision. So after a spade and no trump, 2 spades, I decided to make a slightly spicy takeout double. And I had the north hand. Although I had slightly too many spades and slightly too few diamonds, My partner does know that I didn't double the first time, so I clearly don't have a normal takeout double. So what I'm doing is I'm basically saying that I'm a little bit off shape, but I had so many points that it feels percentage. Could easily be that we have the majority of the points. You can see here that partner has a good enough hand for us to make 3 hearts already, even though East has a pretty much maximum. So I'm expecting my partner to have something. They're not going to be completely broke. If they bid diamonds, then it's going to be on at least a 5-card suit nearly all the time, so I'm not too worried about that. If they have both minors, they might be able to do some sort of 2-suited tuner trump bid, or they might choose to bid 3 clubs, but either way we'll still end up in a club fit. The big reason to compete here is because it's match points, and because the opponents are non-vulnerable. When they play in 2 spades, it doesn't much matter if they go down, because every trick that they go down, you're only collecting 50 each time. So if we can make, for example, 3 clubs or 2 hearts, then even 2 spades going down 2 doesn't help us. So it just seems scoring wise that the way to win the board would be to compete. And so it proved. Partner had 5 nice hearts and didn't actually even need the queen of hearts, and we were in a nice spot. Now the best thing on this hand was that the opponents made my life very easy, and they led the king of spades, which meant that I was then able to push out the queen of spades later and discard a club. Very important to discard a club, which is your length in your base hand, the one with longer trumps. If you discard a diamond, it doesn't do anything because you can already rough that 3rd diamond, because you're shorter in diamonds in the dummy. But because you're longer in the clubs in the dummy, then discarding a club actually helps you. Finally, the last one is a slightly interesting auction. When I said no to Stayman and my partner bid 2 spades, he was showing, I'll show you, an invitational hand with 5 spades and 4 hearts. So from that point of view, I knew that we had a spade fit. So the question is, do we play in 2 spades or 4 spades? Now, with this hand, I think it counts as a maximum. It's 16 and you have this dodgy looking jack of clubs, but everything else looks useful. And just the fact that you have so many points in the heart suit is really going to help partner's hand, because partner's going to be the favourite to hold the queen of hearts, although that wasn't the case today. So it looks like all of your cards are backing up useful cards in your partner's hand. Something really nice happened here. So they led a heart, showing an odd number, and I thought it seemed a bit unusual to lead a heart when my partner had actually shown 4 of them, or in fact now Declara had only shown 4 of them. Well, actually shown 4 of them. So it seemed like a strange thing to do if they didn't have a shortage. So I thought it was more likely that East was going to have the length in spades and therefore more likely to have the jack. So I played the spades small to the king. Turned out that East actually had another heart, and mysteriously West played the 9. So now it seemed like he'd just been leading from 3 small, and he was presumably playing the 10 as top of the remaining doubleton. So it looked like the Queen of Hearts was on my right. Now I'm in a really nice position where, because the hearts are 3-3 and I can see the 10 and the 9 as well, Once the Queen of Hearts is gone, I can use this fourth round of hearts to throw away the Jack of Clubs. So that's a really nice position to be in. And I've still got the option open for taking a spade finesse, although that's not something I needed to do today because the Jack popped up. That's a really, really nice hand. So thank you everyone for watching. I hope you found my analysis useful and got a good idea of the kind of things I was thinking about while playing this tournament. Well done to all of you for participating. Thank you very much for your support, and I will see you next time. Take care. Bye.